I have always been a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and although I never played the first few Sonic games when they originally released on the Mega Drive, I was probably a bit too young. I eventually picked them up, with the release of the Mega Collection for the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and then replayed them when they released on like the Xbox Live Arcade and stuff. So I have played every single main series Sonic game, 2D and 3D. I played a bunch of the spin-offs. I really love Sonic and always have done. I pretty much love all Sonic games. I mean, there's not many Sonic games I can say I really dislike, apart from Sonic Chaos and Sonic Unleashed. I'm not really a fan of. But my favourite Sonic game is Sonic Generations. So when they announced Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces on the same day, yeah, you could tell I was hella excited. But I was probably one of the few people who was actually more excited for Sonic Forces than Sonic Mania. But now that Sonic Mania has finally been released, let's take a look at it. Sonic Mania is akin to Mega Man 9 in that it is a new game that completely reverts back to the old style of a bygone era. While Sonic the Hedgehog 4 tried to be a throwback in terms of gameplay, it felt extremely different in a lot of areas such as graphics, control and just overall game feel. Sonic Mania is made to feel like a literal 90s Sonic game. Whereas Mega Man 9 was entirely comprised of new levels, Sonic Mania both remixes old zones from Sonic 1, 2, CD and 3 and Knuckles and features a few entirely new zones. It acts as if every Sonic game since Sonic 3 and Knuckles never happened. Seeing as we got Sonic Generations before this, I thought they might give a story reason as to how he ended up back here, and explanations as to how Sonic is travelling back through these old zones again, but they haven't. You're just going through these old zones because chaos control, I guess? Your journey is loosely tied together through a few dialogue-free in-engine cutscenes, but the entirety of the game's story is basically revealed in the opening animated cutscene that harkens back to Sonic CD. It boils down to the same simple narrative from the original Sonic games. Eggman is bad and our heroes Sonic, Tails and Knuckles have to stop him. The game controls are pretty much identical to how they were on the Mega Drive. Sega somehow managed to find a way to emulate blast processing on modern consoles. Old fans will likely notice the extra frames of animation on the old sprites, making the game look silky smooth. It's amazing to see just how much a few extra frames can enhance the visuals without altering the game feel in the slightest. The game is split into 12 zones, each containing 2 acts with a boss at the end of every act. With returning zones, Act 1 is essentially a remix of all the acts from the original version of the zone. These levels contain a few mechanics from all the classic Sonic games, such as the shield power-ups from Sonic 3, which can lead to different interactions with that zone's objects. While this can be fun, the level design of some Act 1 levels can feel a bit samey when coming off of the original. Since these games are very timeless and have been re-released on previous generation consoles and mobiles, it's not like people haven't played these zones in a long while. Retreading old ground can feel a little boring. Luckily though, this only really applies to the first few returning zones. Later zones begin to incorporate more newer ideas in the opening act. But it definitely is the second act where a majority of the new ideas are incorporated. Here's where the developers created brand new mechanics that fit the theme and design of the returning acts, and will provide Sonic aficionados with much more to play around with. The new zones are the most exciting thing about the game. Despite how many Sonic games have come prior to Sonic Mania, each new zone is uniquely designed and stands out from anything that Sonic games have done before. They're super fun and implement their own brand new Sonic elements that you've never seen before, like the ice in Press Garden and the paparazzi enemies in Studiopolis. So far, what has been said makes the game sound like just a new classic Sonic game. The faithfulness to the old games has been kept so intact that even strange gameplay bugs feel just the same as they used to. For example, I can still seemingly die from nothing when I use a spin dash on the tornado. But Sonic Mania isn't just a new classic Sonic game. It goes above and beyond just that, and the main reason for that is just how cleverly designed the game is. Original Sonic's control is great, but the tiniest of tweaks in Sonic Mania edges it slightly closer to perfect Sonic control. The drop dash makes it so that you can carry momentum after jumping sections. It's something that Sonic didn't necessarily need, but it just feels good to pull off and makes it that little bit easier to maintain Sonic speed. Tails and Knuckles remain unchanged, each sporting their signature abilities of flying and gliding, allowing them to explore levels in different ways to standard Sonic. Think about your least favourite parts of previous Sonic games, and they've likely been improved in Sonic Mania. Take special stages in Sonic 1 and 2 for example. They can be pretty unfair and frustrating. Sonic Mania's special stages on the other hand are a great joy to play. It takes the loose controls and design of the less than well received Sonic R and incorporates them into a stage that is more streamlined and implements an achievable objective that is well balanced in its difficulty scaling as you get to harder stages. Sonic Mania even throws in the special stages from Sonic 3 and Knuckles without changing the mechanics in the slightest, but merely designing new stages. While these are completely optional, they unlock fun little extras in the game, such as Sonic's Super Peel Out and Insta Shield abilities from games prior, as well as some hilarious unlockable modes that I won't spoil. They're not integral to the quality of the overall game, but they're a nice treat for the fans. One of my least favourite things about one of my favourite Sonic games, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, are the bosses, especially considering how long that game is and how many bosses you have to face. In 3 and Knuckles, there aren't many bosses I can point at and say that I particularly like. That's the complete opposite in Mania. There are original bosses, returning bosses that fight in a totally different way, and some completely unexpected and unique bosses that are not only surprising to see in a Sonic game, but play with the very nature of bosses in 2D platformers. In fact, I have to refrain from showing footage from some of the earlier bosses in the game in order to not spoil the surprises that this game has in store. It is also jam-packed with other surprises and references. They aren't used as a crutch, just as a nod to anyone that gets them, some of which can be incredibly obscure. Sonic Mania is a love letter to Sega's history, not just Sonic's. No matter how a Sonic game fares in the quality of its gameplay, you can be rest assured that it will have some stellar music. I'm happy to say that Sonic Mania's music is top of its class. It just has it all. Every single act has its own accompanying track. Most Act 1's and returning zones feature a modernised remix of the original song, without any drastic changes, while the Act 2 version will take it in a completely new direction. The new zones do something similar, but with entirely new tracks that fit right at home amongst the classics. The special stage, the new boss themes, and invincibility music, it's all incredible. Listen to the songs closely and you may recognise some samples from many Sonic games like Sonic 3 and Sonic Adventure. I can't praise the music in this game enough. Just take a listen to the song from Metallic Madness Act 2. Sonic Mania shows that 2D Sonic wasn't taken as far as it could go in the Mega Drive days. The move to 3D meant that 2D ideas were still left on the table. It just took some new blood to think them up and incorporate them. It's simple really. If you like any of Sonic's 16-bit games, well, not counting Sonic Spinball or Sonic 3D, then there's a great chance you'll like this game just as much, if not more. And if you've never played a Sonic game before, then Sonic Mania is a great jumping on point. I really couldn't have asked for more from this game. I figured a new classic 2D Sonic game would be good, but I was not prepared for just how much new it would bring. It has the best level design, the best bosses, the best special stages, and the best music of any 2D Sonic game. For me, it surpasses Sonic CD and comes close to being my favourite Sonic game of all time, but I'll need to give it time to settle before I decide if it's better than Generations or not. This game gets the Jamiethepayne stamp of excellence. Thanks for watching, and have fun playing video games.